something happened there when we moved from Idaho Falls to Salt Lake. Darwin, my cousin, Darwin Madsen, got a job for me and Daly to work for the same company he worked for, A.J. Elgren and Sons in Salt Lake. Daly took the job in Idaho Falls, and I took the one in Salt Lake. So when I notified the company that I was moving, well, how are you going to move? Well, we'll have to get us a truck. Well, we have a truck that you're welcome to take. We have a truck that we need to get to the Streeter dealership, the Chevrolet dealership in Salt Lake City. We need to get that truck there, and so you can help us out if you'll drive the truck down there. And it was a truck with a flat bed on it. And they said you can haul all your furniture on that truck and take it to Salt Lake.
Well,
what a blessing! What a blessing that was.
Wow.
So now a quarter ton is not very big, or 3/4 ton. So the flat bed was maybe about 3 times bigger than the top of that table. But we had all the stuff we owned that got on there, and but I thought that was pretty nice of them to let us take the truck. It saved us a lot of money. If we'd have had to rent a truck, it would have cost us probably $300-400, which we didn't have.
We got a little apartment, and it was, what did we call it? It was apartments like this.
It was an L shape, and in the center there was a cord of grass. And
it was a nice little apartment, but it was right across from what we call now well, we called it the bus barns in those days, and now it's
Trolley Square.
Trolley Square. And so that's
we were across there from there on the. It would be the southwest corner of Trolley Square, right across the street where we lived. Hey, something else happened that I thought was very significant when we moved to Salt Lake. The day we moved, some friends of ours that I'd known in the mission field come to see us. His name was Darrell White, and his wife's name was Lou, Allie Lou. Now, she was an Oklahoma girl and one of our converts, and he married her. He was in the Air Force while he was there. Well, time we got home, he was also home, had been released from the Air Force, and he was enrolled at BYU. So this was on a Saturday that we moved, and he came up to help us unload the stuff into our house. And afterwards he says, "How would you like to go for a ride?" Oh, we'd love to go for a ride. We'd never been to Salt Lake before. We had, well, we did. We spent our honeymoon there, but that was nothing. So
they had one child, and we had one child at this time.
Jerry Lynn was just a baby, and their oldest girl, Vicky, was just a baby.
About the same age.
So we piled in their car, and oh, by the way, we had a new car by then, because when I sold for Smith Hart, they wanted me to have a demonstrator, a new car as a demonstrator. And so they sold it to me for like $300 discount. Car was like $2,500, brand new, and we got it for like $1,900, brand new. So we owned that, so we drove it to Salt Lake City along with that truck. So we got in that car and we went down up on, he said, "Let's go up on South Temple. And we'll show you where President McKay lives." So as we went east on South Temple, we got to about 10th East, and he said, "Now on this corner is this big red brick house, and that's where President McKay lives." But he said, normally on a Saturday afternoon like this, he had a bay window that stuck out in his house, and that was a study place for him to study. He says he normally is sitting in that window on a Saturday. So let's drive by there and see if we can see him. So we did. Drove up, we turned on South Temple and started going up the road. Here's the house over here. We drove by it very slowly, and lo and behold, there was President McKay and his wife Emma standing in the backyard on the driveway. And we had gone by very slowly and looking at them, you know, and I'm sure they looked at us and wondered what in the world's going on. We got up the road about a half a block, and I said, "Hey, let's go back and let's drive in there and see him, say hello to him." And these girls about come unglued.
We can't just do that. Why not?
So I turned around, went back, and drove up in the driveway. And of course, President McKay turned his head and looked at us, but I'm sure he thought they're crazy people. We got out and went over there and shook hands and introduced ourselves, and he was standing there in a pair of dark pants and a white shirt, and that's no tie, but just a white shirt. And he had dust all over the one side. And he began to explain to us why he had dust all over his side. Have you heard us tell this story before?
I remember you going there and seeing him, but I don't remember the dust.
Well, he had dust all over one side, and he said, you know, he says, I have to explain how I got this. And he explained that he had, that morning, one of the stake presidents from Ogden had called him and said, President, we need to have you come up here to Ogden, up the canyon, and we need to meet you here. We have something very important to talk with you about. And he said, well, he can't turn down several stake presidents, so he went up there to meet him. And he said about a week before that, somebody had broken into his tack house and stolen saddles and bridles and things of this nature. And he said, I was upset. He says, I could have shot the guy. Not kill him, understand, just wound him a little bit. He says, when he got up there, he went up alone. He didn't take Emma with him. When he got up there to Ogden, it was up the canyon, and they met him at his farmhouse. And
who met him?
The stake presidents.
Okay.
And he says, let me show you what they gave me. So he took us over to the back of his car. We had a big black Buick sitting there, brand new Buick. And he opened up the trunk, and there was this quilted saddle, brand new leather saddle. The seat was quilted, you know, sewn crossways with a nice soft cushion. And he said, oh, when I saw that saddle, I was glad the guy stole the saddle from me.
That's been written up in.
And that was in the.
All kinds.
Yeah,
of
that
histories.
was written in the. That whole story was in the magazine, in the Church News.
That he wrote, or did someone come and interview him?
No, that somebody had interviewed him as to why he had gone to Ogden, and he told them the same story that he told us.
But he told you, and then the thing, and then it came out later in the paper.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We were first to hear.
Yeah.
Because he was still dirty and.
Interestingly enough, the day before we moved on Friday, we were still in Idle Falls. They had broken ground for a new chapel in our area, and we went to the groundbreaking, and guess who broke the ground? President McKay. And he drove up in this big black Buick that he drove then, a church car, of course. And he made the comment, he said, oh, you're very observant as to what kind of a car I was driving.
Why, you said something about it?
I said something about, had seen him the day before in Idle Falls at the groundbreaking. Anyway, we considered him our prophet, you know.
Oh, we loved him. He was so...
He had white hair, white
beautiful.
wavy hair.
He's been trying to get his to look like it for years.
And he wore a white suit.
Looked like an angel when he walked
Conference.
in.
I tell you, what a sight. When you saw him come through those doors to walk up.
That was a good experience.
That white suit.
But our whole experience in Salt Lake was one that we'll never forget. It was just wonderful.